HSBC, the world's third largest bank and its sixth largest company, has agreed to pay a record $1.92 billion settlement after U.S. investigators found that it spent years committing serious crimes involving money laundering for Mexican drug cartels, moving tainted money for Saudi banks tied to terrorist groups, and moving money for nations like Iran. Those investigations even uncovered substantial evidence that senior bank officials were complicit in the illegal activity. With such strong evidence of a blatant failure by the bank to implement anti-money laundering controls, the consequences of criminal prosecution would have been significant. But in a clear sign that the 0.1%, both individual people and corporations, enjoy a two-tiered justice system, HSBC was allowed to avoid criminal charges by basically saying, okay, you got us. Now who do I make the check out to? No one was arrested, no one's going to prison, even though there are specific people who clearly broke the law. They are protected from trial because their actions were on behalf of the profit line for a dominant company. The defenders of the government's decision will say the move was necessary because HSBC was essentially too big to criminally prosecute, that the fragile world banking system could be destabilized if one of the world's largest banks was jeopardized by a public trial of some of its highest-ranking officials for money laundering. But that short-term view of the world, that certain institutions are simply too important to fail, is what led to exactly this type of moral corruption. HSBC should have been criminally prosecuted if President Obama wants true justice in a world where the money HSBC was moving and thus profiting mightily from was clearly known to come from the type of drug lords Obama's been fighting through his Mexican proxy, the terrorists he's been hunting through his drone targeting operations, and the Iranians he's been sanctioning. If you come down hard on HSBC, the world banking system might get a little shaken up, but you would have made it known that the world's biggest criminal networks, whether they're south of the US border, in the Middle East, or right in your own backyard, will have to work that much harder to keep the scent of their blood-soaked money away from US law enforcement hounds.